Hi, Professor Mihu. So, since this is our last vlog, I just wanted to say thank you for all that you've done for us as students and for me personally. I've really taken a lot from this class and really enjoyed it. And I just thank you for the daily devotionals that you do in the beginning of class. I really took a lot away from those, and just for every lesson that you've done has just been very interesting, and I've been able to take a lot from it. So I just want to say thank you for that. And I've really enjoyed your class this semester. So now going on to the article. First of all, I've never read the whole book of Revelation. I've never even really studied it. I know when I was a kid, it actually kind of scared me. Just thinking about all the things in it, it just seemed very weird. But this article, it was very intriguing and insightful to me. So some of the things I've written down that I've taken away from it. So the first thing was that how the author tells how he taught the book of Revelation based on the circumstances of the author's own time rather than predicting events in the modern world, which I thought is very different. And I think since Revelation is kind of really hard to explain because there's so many different things going on and so many different like creatures and events taking place that refer to different things, I think it's really hard to explain it without predicting events, I guess. So I thought that was really cool how the author did it on the actual circumstances of his own time rather than predicting future events. So that was really easier for me to understand while I was reading the rest of the article. And next, I also thought it was interesting how the author talked about the beast. He referred to the beast a lot. And at first, I did not know what he was really talking about because I thought, the beast is probably Satan. But as I kept reading, it was really referring to Nero Caesar, and which then in Numbers is 666, which I never even knew that it referred to Nero Caesar at all. I never even really heard of him or who he was. So I thought that was really interesting to me. And then one of the things that he said that I really made me think was that he asked, who is like the beast today, like in our own world? And he said that any earthly power can warp toward blasphemy, violence, and arrogance. And don't confuse loyalty to any government or human society with loyalty to Jesus. So one question that I really thought of was, what is it going to take for people to stop putting their trust and loyalty on people and put it on God? Because, every single day we put our trust in people and they still fail us every single time. But if we put our trust and hope in Jesus and our loyalty on Jesus, he'll never fail us. And I think as a nation we do this. We put our loyalty on the government, on human society, and every time it fails and it never works. And it only works if we put it on Jesus. So I think that's just the question I thought of, is like, what is it going to take for that to actually happen? And then the next thing that I liked is how the article talked about John, and how John wrote the book of Revelation a lot differently than how Paul wrote. So we compared John to Paul in their writing and teaching, and it's something I never noticed before, how Paul was very logical in his reasoning. He had deductive reasoning and logical arguments, where John, on the other hand, wrote with a lot of poetry, symbols, metaphors, a lot of pictures, which I actually really enjoy reading. And although he wrote and taught like this, it said something important that I liked, is that John wrote with pictures and metaphors and all that, but he was not an entertainer. He was simply preaching and teaching to help Christians be faithful to Jesus rather than just entertain them. And then going back to the beast, which the article continued to talk about, referring to Nero Caesar and how terrible of a person he was, and I never even knew about him. I don't know how. I'm referring to the number, which adds up to 666. I never really correlated that together at all. And I'd say I'm a very imaginative and creative person, but I'm also very literal. So I really liked being able to understand and see how the author related some of the text in Revelation to its literal meaning. Some of them were like the white horse that rode out to conquer in chapter 6, verse 2, could actually be meaning the far-flung conquests of Rome. And the fiery red horse in chapter 6, verse 4, meaning the bloody war between Rome and the Jews. And lastly, the black horse with a rider holding scales in chapter 6, verse 5 through 6, can mean the way the empire warped the economy of client states. I really liked how it did that in its literal meaning, because, I would read some of these chapters before, but never really understood what they actually meant. So that just really made me realize what they meant. And lastly, on a lighter note, from talking about the beast and conquest and all this, Revelation opened my eyes to see how Revelation is framed with grace and invitation. That's something that is said at the end of the article. And how we should thank God for gifting us the free gift of invitation to be able to follow Him and accept Him. And how we should be thankful every single day for His grace that saves us. Over and over again when we put our loyalty in people rather than Him and don't trust Him. So that's all. But I really liked this article and thought it was very interesting. So yeah, thank you.